Meow.
Yeah.
Meow.
Meow. I don't know. We'll see.
Meow. Oh, meow. I see it. It live.
Here we go.
Yeah.
Oh,
Oh, whoa.
oh my heavens!
Here we go.
Holy smoke! Live and in living couleur.
Right on.
Hopefully, that is
Yay!
to. Hopefully, that is going to be the only goddamn thing I have to do in terms of maintenance. But
Mm-hmm.
my cohorts here have given me the thumbs up. I am giving myself the thumbs up. We are here live in living color. There's three of us right now. There will be four. Please bear with us. Sorry for the delay. Pulling back the curtain, as they say. There were some technical difficulties. Who would have thought, right? Who would have thought? I did a solo test and then I did a group test, but the group test did not have the recording or the live stream, rather. So that's a mulligan on my part. C'est la vie. We do what we can with what we've got, and we're here today to have a big old fashioned just yap session. What are we talking about tonight? If you see the title, it is Saturday Night Fight Talk. We're not talking about we're not talking about
Oh.
MMA. We're not even talking about one of my strongest passions, one of my loves, which is pro wrestling. Right on cue, my dear friend E is here.
Did
My
I
fellow.
hear Puroresu?
Hey, what is going on, my friend? Yes. So tonight is Saturday Night Fight Talk. Me and these three lovelies are going to be talking about fighting games, a very niche community, a very niche genre of games. Why, pray tell? Because I just figured, why not go for something kind of out of the ordinary to a lot of general public? And granted, this month was super amazing because it is Women's History Month, and I will try and touch on that a little bit during this night. But
Mhm.
also, there were a
Shout out to
lot
women.
of tournaments that happened in this month, and there were some really big ass tournaments that took place for various games. I mean, there was the Capcom Cup. There was a exhibition tournament for Tekken 8 between the country of Pakistan and Korea. My God, you want to talk about some just heated rivalries and battles? That was like that. And there were a couple other big name tournaments. I will definitely try and touch on the Capcom Cup because I felt like that was the best one that we've had in a long time. And there are a few people that I would like to touch on. It's not really meant to be from a like an expert analyst standpoint, but just as somebody that's a casual enjoyer that sees people that are just on another level, and I admire what they do. But yes, greetings, salutations. My name is Sergey Dasu, and I welcome you to Saturday Night Fight Talk. I'm gonna go ahead and just allow these lovelies one at a time. Tell us who you are, tell us what you're all about, and share your favorite fighting game or fighting game series if you care to. Go.
Hi. I'm Gentle Brown Baby. I'm strictly toxic in the fighting community. I'm kidding. But I I enjoy fighting games a lot. I've been playing it since I was a child.
Okay, cool, cool. Who's
What's up,
next?
everybody? I am Kitty Keats, and I thrive on
Ah,
chaos. Um, I'm still a baby when it comes to fighting games, honestly, but I'm currently playing a little bit of Tekken 8, and I believe my first fighting game was Mortal Kombat Armageddon.
ooh. 3D.
On the PlayStation, of course.
That's what I'm talking about. How about is is there an E there? Is my good friend E there? Hello.
I am. Oh, I my first fighting game experience was watching my cousin play Tekken 2, I believe.
Okay. Love
I was just over his house and I was like, man, I hate Tekken. And then watching him play, I was like, no, I love Tekken. And my initial fighting game experiences were playing like, WCW,
Mm.
the wrestling games and stuff. But I think my actual favorite franchise is still to this day, like they doing my boy wrong, but it's still Mortal Kombat.
Oh dang. And who's your boy?
My boy is the whole game. They did like the history of Mortal Kombat. Like I won't get into it right now, but it's just they
Oh,
kind
I
of doing
mean,
my property dirty. And
you know what?
I don't recognize my boy anymore.
Hey, I mean, I'm semi tempted to just go ahead and segue right into that because I'm right there with you as somebody that has like, if it wasn't for being introduced to, as I like to say, culture in the form of like Bushido Blade, which is one of my all-time favorites. Sam Show is another series that I really love.
Love Sam Show.
When I talk to certain people, I know I can bring up a lot of like talk about Skullgirls, which is one of my favorite fighting games as well as Street Fighter and such. But I feel like it's lesser known that Sergi is really into a lot of SNK properties as well as Neo Geo properties. Now, can I tell you all of my experiences with like Art of Fighting or anything like that? Hell no. But I will say that I love a lot of those properties and I wish to see them flourish. I mean, we have City of the Wolves, which I'll probably talk about a little bit, especially with this recent announcement that they dropped that really has a lot of like creators, especially in the fighting game community and even outside the fighting game community, is kind of just up in arms. But I'm going to wrap that up into something that makes it a little bit better for the fighting game community as a whole. But as such, this particular stream, I would like to say, is not going to be longer than 2 hours. Please don't quote me on that. I'm going to do my best to be mindful of time, not just for myself, but obviously for my guest here, and even for the people that are listening in, maybe even watching or what have you. If you're listening to this as like a VOD, I hope you enjoy what is partaking in this event. And yeah, so this first person that we're going to get into is more so just us kind of sharing our history, which we kind of did when we went down the line and just introduced ourselves. But as far as getting more into the meat and potatoes of things, I think I've already kind of tipped off with that, where I'm talking about Bushido Blade and everything. E, for me, I would say that if it wasn't for Bushido Blade, it would have just been straight up Mortal Kombat. My uncle, my dad, they were big time gamers when I was just a wee bab. One of my first gaming experiences outside of messing around on like a Genesis and everything was with like fighting games as a whole. So it ended up being Mortal Kombat 3 that I got a taste of. And then it eventually started kind of delving in more into the Mortal Kombat series, where Kitty, you mentioned Armageddon. That was one of the ones where I really started to understand what being salty was because of my cousins. And there was an array of characters that really kind of grinded my gears when it came to that game. But I think there was one character that really got on my bad side. And I would say that it took several years to really just kind of let it go. And that is Baraijo. Fucking Boraicho.
Yeah.
I don't know what it was. I think it was just the fact because it was the nature of my cousin being that person that loved to pick characters that were just built to be annoying. And I realize nowadays that I kind of have that as part of my design when I play fighting games is let me pick a very unorthodox character that has gimmicks and is meant to really just take the fun out of your experience. And that's what my experience was playing my cousin whenever he played Boraicho. And it sticks with me to this day. And I mean, now I don't hate the character Boraicho. I mean, I know like in MK1 you have Madame Bo and everything, and that's a nice callback. But that's one of those moments where it's just like, okay, there's something brewing here. And that played a big part in me sticking in to this universe of fighting games, I would say. So I mean, I give thanks, but I really hate him for that. But that was just one. Another one was my experiences playing some of the King of Fighters with one of my best friends from school. He was a big Terry Bogard head. Back then, I despised Terry because of him, but now I love and adore that silly man with his silly little red hat and his stupid sleeveless red vest. I can't really envision myself ever despising Terry again as a character. But it's funny just seeing like how I've kind of matured, if you will, after dealing with these as a young adolescent. It's just like, bro, you just keep hitting me with burn knuckle, and every time I try and like roll up on you when I knock you down, you just hit me with fucking rising tackle. What is this life? I hate this character. He's so stupid. He's just a white man that just keeps saying, "Are you okay, Buster Wolf?"
Oh my god!
But he's our favorite white man.
Yeah, and I'm just like, why is he saying these words like this? And I'm just like, now that I'm of my age, I'm like, nah, this is the only version of Terry I care about. Like where 100%. He's at right now and like Street Fighter 6 and everything, how he looks, is super dope.
Are you okay? Yes, I am.
What's up, Kitty?
Let me interject here. I was going to say, I believe the first time I actually seen a Mortal Kombat game was my second oldest brother had, I believe, I could be wrong. I feel like I'm wrong, but I know it was on N64. I think it was Mortal Kombat Trilogy.
Something like that.
I think, yeah.
I know it was on 64.
Yeah, I think it's Trilogy.
I was a wee little kitty. Okay.
You know what? Yes. I know they also have, you know what? Yes, because I think my friend said he got a ROM, an N64 ROM that had Trilogy. So yes.
See, that was the first time I seen a Mortal Kombat game.
Okay.
Yeah.
Not bad.
Trilogy was tight.
What about? I'm trying to think, because like for me, there was one series, and I'll probably touch on this later. There was one series that I kind of wish that I was there when it was really popping off, especially because it's like now it's such a hot commodity, aside from something like Project Justice. And shout outs to my friend who was originally going to be joining us, but she decided not to do it, and that's okay. I mean, I'm not going to hold a gun to your head for this, but for Vampire Savior, she's very big into that series, and she's looking for another one to come through. When's Darkstalkers? When's Vampire Savior? When are we getting that back? Please, Capcom, please. We just can't keep having like Morrigan be in like crossover games. Like, yeah, Morrigan's a cool character. Who doesn't love a Scottish succubus? But I think that series deserves a revival. It'd be nice to see that game get revived.
Yeah, they be trolling us with Darkstalkers.
With the costumes.
They really do. I mean, if it's not costumes, it's probably a crossover promotion, and if it's not that, it's some just ugly, uninspired. I mean, hopefully they don't go the route with certain games like Pachinko and everything. That would be
Right.
bad. So
You know,
Boy.
now that you say it out loud,
It's gonna manifest it.
Oh my gosh.
Um, my first game was Street Fighter 2.
ooh, okay. Love that for you.
Yeah, yeah. My oldest brother liked to play it because my dad who passed liked to play with him.
Mhm.
His main for what my brother told me was E Honda, and
Oh my god.
he was a motherfucker with it.
Oh my god.
100%.
Edmund freaking Honda. That is insane.
Yeah, so my first was a Street Fighter 2, and then I was born in 96. So around that time, I think like the biggest one was like fucking, was it Third Strike that came out? Or that came like way
96.
before?
Yeah, Third Strike was a lot later.
Yeah, yeah. It was either, I think it was the Alpha series around that time, right?
Oh
I
my
think
god, 96.
Alpha was like 97, 96.
Okay, okay.
Yeah.
So definitely not because I was an infant, so it had to be like earlier on. So it was definitely like around the Third Strike era. Because I remember playing fucking Sean and not knowing how to fucking play him.
You know, it'd be
I'm
like
like, he
that.
looks like Ryu. He should play like Ryu. I don't understand. Why is he shooting hoops?
I mean, he was his
Granted,
own
I
man.
love Sean now.
Yeah. I mean, he was his own man. I would say that he has a place in the modern universe of Street Fighter, especially because you had his sister in 5, who was an
Yes.
absolute menace. I don't care what anybody says, especially when you have somebody like Idom that is just who really put that character on the map. I really love seeing what he did. I mean, he won Capcom Cup with her, and he did a lot of things. But just, I think
Absolute queen shit.
one of the things that I would like to see more that I mean we'll get into not too far from now is making fighting games a little bit more silly, because at the end of the day they are video games.
Yeah.
Mhm.
I get that one of the biggest issues right now is trying to find that comparable balance where, hey, this is meant to be super competitive because they want to get that esports money, because they see things like Overwatch and they see things like League and they see Dota and they see all these other games taking off. I mean, now you got Marvel Rivals getting into the mix. You've got Deadlock taking off. They want a piece of that pie, and I understand. But it's going to take work, and it really takes the community finding a way to shift the perspective of the entire community as a whole. It can't just be a conscious decision from the creators, the developers, the publishers, and all that stuff. It's got to be a lot of the people that make the game even exist. And it's always funny listening to certain people talk about how the fighting game community really is kind of like an old head community when I think about it. But I also hate that, because it's like, it's so weird to see certain people that are like half my age that are busting ass and going to tournaments and winning tournaments, and I'm considered old, and I'm considered like
I feel this in my soul.
That eats me up when everybody's like, "Oh yeah, you're like your unk status," and I'm like, "Bro, I'm only 33.
You wasn't really there.
Like,
You was never really there.
Don't.
I feel like you got to be at least 40.
Not at least 40.
And see, and that's the thing. That is the thing, because it's like I look at some of these pro players and they're like, yeah, I'm starting to get up there in age, and it's like half of those motherfuckers are like 2 years younger than me, and I'm like, what do you mean?
Right.
Like, what are you talking about? Wait a minute.
Collecting that AARP.
Wait, what did you on, bro?
Yes.
The ARP.
Yes. I'm like, no. We can't be doing this, bro. You can't be telling me that I'm already like past my prime. Like, bullshit. We still got if we got people like Daigo and like so many others that are in their 40s still busting ass in Street Fighter and all that, I don't want to hear a damn thing. Nah, son, I'm not gonna let that slide.
The fact that people think 40 is old, you know?
Yes, that hurts my soul. I'm like, you cannot do this to me. Like I'm not even mid 30s, and you're telling me that I'm outdated. Like, come on now.
And it
It's
just
like, if you're talking
fundamentally isn't old.
Yes. Like I don't know why that has to be the mentality. Even like not even just in fighting games, like in the fighting game community, but just in general, where people were like, "You're in your 30s, you're old,
Message.
you're
I
washed
don't
up." I'm
know.
like, nah, son. Like you can't hit me with that bullshit. That is not how this works.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess that's just what happens is they like to pick on the millennials and all that, and I'm fed
That's
up with
really
it.
all it is.
Enough is enough. Enough is
It
enough. And don't
sucks.
even say elder abuse. It's not elder abuse. Foul play. That's what it is. It's foul play.
Flag on the play.
Yeah, very much so. Very much so. But I think one of the things that I would like to see happen more is with just going back to the topic of the FGC and whatnot moving forward. One of the things that I would like to see going forward is just the togetherness. That's one of the things that really brought me to the dance, but I think it needs more work. It still needs work. It's not perfect, but it's getting there. However, to say that it is archaic, I can agree with because of how they tend to want to do things. And it is unfortunate whenever I see certain other game series, they get the rub, they're getting the acknowledgement, and fighting games, they're just kind of passed over, glazed over, they're just kind of glazed over, and it's like, I
Push to the back.
don't. Yeah, it's very much just it's there. It's kind of like that very obscure little like party piece that just kind of sits in a corner, doesn't really get messed with. Somebody might fiddle with it with a little bit, they get bored, and they move on. And it's sad because it plays into like what's happening right now, where you start seeing like arcades get shut down and such. And I think that sucks, especially because there's a really cool arcade out in Japan that got shut down. I was like, damn. And then it's like all across the states, you see arcades getting shut down. And granted, not all fighting game cabinets or not all cabinets in the arcades are fighting games, but I'd be remiss to say that wasn't a big attraction piece, especially back in the day, especially in the 90s.
Bro, I love me a good arcade.
All the various games, of course, you have like beat 'em ups and everything, but it's like that's essentially just a side-scrolling fighting game.
Yeah,
and I mean, quarters were coming in by just the bucket full, and finding a way to see how the fighting game community can transform itself without losing its identity, because I feel like that's probably one of the biggest things that a lot of people worry about is like them losing their identity and just kind of going with a trend that doesn't really suit well with the community. I remember I was listening to a podcast from one of the pro players that I follow, and he was talking about the premise of doing like a live service, because that seems to be kind of the mode for a lot of games nowadays is live service. Just you plop something down and you're just constantly shipping out things, updating it here and there, maybe little updates, and then you get like the big seasonal updates, and then you'll try and push something out perhaps before or after a major tournament or whatever, or invitational or what have you. And how that can apply to something like fighting games, for me, as somebody that I wouldn't call myself a professional, I'm not too sure. But I know for me, as somebody that enjoys like the series, one of the biggest things that I just want to see care and concern from the developers. Seeing a lot of things that have been popping up recently, especially like with Tekken, I haven't even had a chance to fully get into it, but it seemed like so many people were really pissed off about the recent Tekken update. And
What's
people were
going on with that?
so they recently had like a major patch update. I haven't had a chance to sit down and look at it. That was one of the things that I wish I was able to sit down and look at fully before I got up on here.
Mhm.
But just a lot of people really speaking out and saying that they don't understand the direction that Harada and the crew are taking with this game. And they're just like, yeah, I'm just going to drop it. And it was so funny because it's like a lot of people, they're like, this is my excuse to go play Virtua Fighter 5, which is starting to see a lot more of a resurgence. And I was just like, oh my goodness. Imagine having something of that magnitude just push people to something that a lot of people really kind of just wrote off as like a dead game, quotation marks. But I mean, Virtua Fighter, it's always been there. It's just people, they didn't really vibe with the game style, I feel like.
Mhm.
And I mean, I could say that I'm one of those people. It was one of those games that I only really tried in passing, and it didn't really stick with me. But I knew that there were a lot of characters in that game that they looked interesting. And honestly, if I gave more effort into figuring out how I could make that game for me, what could I find that made that game fun for me, then yeah, I think I could have stuck with it more. But
Oh yeah,
yeah,
for
that's
sure.
just how it is.
That's kind of how I
That's
feel
one
about
of the
Sancho.
big things. Yeah.
Like I want to love
It goes
Sancho, but I just couldn't do it.
it takes a lot, man. It takes a hell of a lot. As somebody that has played a lot of different Sham shows, I haven't had a chance to really sit down with the newest one.
Mhm.
But I mean, for me, Sam show, like certain games like that where it's more of a footsies base, there isn't a lot of focus on doing hyper stylish combos. I
It's
find
not.
that I've been finding a lot of joy in games like that, where it's like you just kind of have this very simplistic base, but then it's like it comes down to you really have to use your mind.
Yeah.
It really, it just becomes mind games.
Yeah.
Games like that. There was another. What was it? There's literally a game called Footsies. I've been wanting to try that on PC, and then of course Dive Kick. Dive
Oh
Kick is
yeah. Yeah.
good old Dive
It
Kick.
felt like dive kicks, man. Where like it's very like timing is of the essence here.
Facts.
A lot of like fake outs and shit. Like again, I tried to love it, and I just like I can't get past this because I'm like I'm a fucking monkey brain. I'm like I need combos, and
I gotta get all the
I
combos.
just couldn't do it.
Yeah. And
Why am I not juggling this person in the air right now?
Right.
And you know, I understand. I wholeheartedly understand that people want to do the cool things. That's what attracts people to fighting games. Is hey, they're doing cool things. They look cool, and it feels right. It feels right. You don't have to do too much. You don't want to have to work too hard. I think that's where some of the disconnect. For me personally, I feel like that's where some of the disconnect comes from somebody that is playing a hero shooter or a MOBA, where it's like, okay, I put myself in position. I'm working this lane. I put myself in a position. I caught somebody out of position, and I hit them with a sick ass combination where I hit them with one of my abilities, and I might even get my ulti off, and I hit them and one of their teammates, and I just dust them both. Great sensational feeling, as opposed to you come to a fighting game, brother. I don't know how to do this motion to get this move. What even is this?
Yeah,
And that's where the disconnect comes, and it's like a lot of people they go back and forth. It's like a tale as old as time, where people are like fighting games are one of the hardest game series to get into. Very very debatable. It's very much I wouldn't call it fact. I would say it's just more so a strong opinion, because it's meant to be taken case by case. If you go into a certain fighting game and it doesn't gel with you, that's not to say that that's every fighting game. Especially nowadays, and I get that a lot of old heads, they kind of gripe about it, where it's like they're simplifying a lot of fighting games, but there's a reason for that, especially when, like, going back to what I'm saying, they're trying to get more eyes and hands on these games so that we don't just fall into this pit where there's just no fighting games again, and there's no fighting games getting made, and then that's it, and then that genre essentially just kind of disappears. They're trying to find that happy balance, and they're not going to please everybody. Like this whole situation with Tekken and that update, somebody was saying that there was like a follow-up from the Tekken team where they said, hey, we're seeing that everybody's getting salty about this, and we're trying to do something to fix it. And I like when developers are willing to kind of put their hand up, be like, yo, that's our bad. Clearly, we weren't really listening to everybody that's involved in this.
Mhm.
So we're going to do our part to try and fix this to where it works for everybody. Another, just a kind of sidebar from that, it makes me think about something that, for me, I guess I could say I'm a little passionate about because I really like the series, but I didn't like what I saw from the beta. Killing Floor 3. Kind of not sure how that's going to turn out. That game was supposed to come out, I think, this week, and they've since then delayed it because of how just overwhelming the consensus was from the people that play the beta that this is not a game.
Right.
And yeah, just going through and watching a lot of videos from certain people playing and just breakdowns, and then just like in my own experience, I'm like, oh yeah, this is so far removed from all the other Killing Floors, and I'm not happy. I'm not happy. They're not happy. And so Tripwire was just like, you know what? Hands up, yo, we messed up. This game is going to go right back in the oven, and we're going to try and fix this game, and we're not going to tell you anything unless it's a super major breakthrough that we're actually making this game right and giving it back its identity, because that was one of the main things, is that game had no comparable identity whatsoever. It did not look like a Killing Floor game. It did not feel like a Killing Floor game. It just looked like a ripoff that was running off of Unreal Engine 5. And I'm just, it pays to be a little bit more in tune with your community, but also just understanding what brought you to the dance in the first place. Because I mean, I wouldn't say Killing Floor 2 was a great game, but I mean, it did its part. Like Killing Floor 1, I feel like people still play that game to this day, even before like the debacle of the beta for third one.
Right.
But it's a thing like that where if you apply that to, say, a fighting game, it may very well make or break that game in a way that is hard to really bounce back from, especially because it's a fighting game. Like you're gonna have your day ones.
Yeah.
But if you're looking at somebody coming in off the street that's like, yeah, I heard about this, and I mean, I'll give it a try, and then they have a terrible experience because of that, they're like, yeah, nah, I'm going back to what I was playing before. F that.
Yeah. I feel like that's what happens with Infinite, Marvel vs. Capcom Infinite, where like they try to do something new and like no one was fucking with it.
I won't lie, I was kind of vibing, more so because of the gameplay, the mechanics.
Yeah.
Everything else was dog water. Everything else was dog water. But I was like, I'm kind of banging with this. I mean, that stone system's kind of, yeah, we could do without that. But I mean, I'm kind of banging with this. But then the thing that made me happy, since you're talking about Infinite, is just like with Marvel vs. Capcom 3, the community was there to pick it up off the ground and raise it higher than the actual creators themselves.
Right.
Yeah.
And it's like now we have Marvel versus Capcom Infinite and Beyond.
Yeah, that
Because
should look good.
yeah, it's the simple fact that they were just like, you know what, they really hit the Thanos. Fine, I'll do it myself.
They really did.
And I don't know what it's gonna take for Capcom to understand. Maybe they just need to let the community do the thing. Maybe they
Yeah.
need to let the homies handle this because they actually know what makes the game good.
You
Like,
know,
no
good and darn
offense
well.
to no offense to Capcom, because they've clearly been balling out with Monster Hunter, with Devil May Cry, with
Mhm.
Street Fighter.
Mhm.
Now they bringing back all these other series and such. When's Dino Crisis? Okay, that's all I got.
need it.
That's me on my soapbox. Now I'm back. I just want my girl Regina back. That's all I'm asking. Don't you dare make her an ugly ass Avatar outfit in Street Fighter 6. I will fight. I will crash out. I will fight. I'm just saying I will go to Capcom's offices.
I will
It's
get
not-
violent.
Don't. You gave those people their Monster Hunter again. All I am asking is for something, not a trailer, just like, hey, we see you Dino Heads. We acknowledge you. That's it.
Oh my goodness.
And I'm done. But
And then you get a mobile app.
I'm actually burning something down. I'm actually burning something down. I mean, I'll take the Metal Gear treatment, and they just make a freaking pachinko machine. I'll take that.
Oh my gosh.
You could go ahead and make a high def like pachinko machine with just insane graphics. Like, I don't care,
baby,
bro.
you
Don't
worth
you
more
give
than
me no
that.
other like, if Metal Gear can do that, if Metal Gear can get that treatment, I mean, Dino Crisis can. I'm not saying they're like on the same level, but I'm just saying. All right,
Love
Mhm.
yourself, friend.
bro.
Get up.
But just fight back, bro. Fight back, please. Don't do me like this. What is something, and I'm gonna include myself in this question as well. What is something that, for all of you guys, what is something that you personally don't really understand about fighting games, or just as far as the community goes as a whole? What is one thing in particular that, when it comes to fighting games or the community, you're just like, bro, I don't get this.
Jiggle physics.
Mm.
Now listen here. Now you listen here.
Let me tell you something.
I was gonna be quiet, but I got something to say.
Let me tell you something.
If everybody got jiggle physics, then there's no problem.
Well, all I'm saying is Skullgirls did it right because Beowulf had jiggle physics on his crotch. That's all I'm
There
saying.
you go.
And they gave jiggle physics to Rufus in Street Fighter 4. His belly was all over the place more than Chun-Li's titties or thighs.
Mhm.
Yeah, they sure did.
I'm just saying,
If everybody got jiggle
as long as
physics,
we're
it's
seeing
okay.
as long as
Oh.
I'm seeing some equality and it's not just the main focal point, like we're not talking like some high school DxD level jiggle or whatever, then
Right.
Dead
I think we're
you know.
you're able to talk. I think we can talk about something, but
Mhm.
I get where you're coming from. Edie.
I'm just saying, when I was young, we used to call it the Dynex count because it was how many frames the
Oh, my
studio
heavens.
Dynex spent on animating one titty.
Oof.
It's very important for research.
High.
I mean, hey, they had to really have to sell the product, and I understand, but also
They was blowing the
Jesus.
budget. We blowing the budget on jiggle physics. And like, look, I play Rumble Roses, all right, so I get it, but I'm just saying.
Yeah.
How
Man,
much-
so when is what is the remake, the Unreal Engine 5 remake of Rumble Roses? How
Ready.
Oof.
Not soon enough.
Yes.
They ain't ready for it. We never, the streets will be empty.
Woo, child, especially with the PC release, man, those mods are. Mm, dang.
Is it bad that I want another Dead or Alive?
No,
No,
not
I
at
want
all.
another Dead or Alive.
no, I'm not against it.
I mean,
In fact, I'm
the
for
thing-
it.
Yeah.
I feel like a lot of people really sleep on DOA being like a really good 3D fighter, probably more so than Tekken,
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah.
because it has a great enough balance. Like obviously the fan service, and I mean, prayers up to those people and their bank accounts where they're like, hey, is that another like costume pack for like 10
Right.
different girls? Say less. I'm spending my entire paycheck and then some. Like, hey, you got it, Pip. Couldn't be me. Could not be me. I'ma just play the game. But yeah, I would like to see another DOA in conjunction with like the Virtual Fighter game that they're talking about 6. I do need to see more information about that game because the trailer that they dropped, it very much felt like, hey, we just want to show off the engine and some neat stuff with the engine more so than, hey, this is actually supposed to. It was very much just a glorified tech demo. It was not meant to be, hey, game, yes, gameplay, yes.
Yeah.
I do like the idea of like physics-based blocking for a fighting game where it's not like you like if you hopefully this comes off as like very understood, but in say like a Tekken or a Street Fighter, when somebody decides to throw a low kick or even like an overhead and your character just kind of snaps there. But like from the tech demo that they were showing, it was very much fluid blocking. I think I love that so much more for fighting games than just the snap to block that we get with a lot of these games. It just looks very natural, but I understand that can be very intensive. And in some cases, it might not be registered very well to a lot of people, especially if you kind of get that, for lack of a better term, tunnel vision, where you're so used to how a character reacts to an attack when blocking.
Right.
Yeah, that's basically all I got for that. That was my that was my TED talk, my nerdism.
Bro,
What is something that I don't personally understand with the fighting games or fighting game community? Heavens to Betsy. I think just the discourse with balancing, but more so. This one's more personal. The disdain for grapple characters.
Y'all be
I
busted
get-
though.
Okay.
I ain't saying that I don't like grapplers, but
Y'all kind of broken.
Wow.
Y'all be
Wait.
vital tossing.
5 Raptors out, 5 rounds against Potemkin, I feel a type of way.
Ain't no. Hey, hold up.
I'm only being thrown. How about that?
Nah, son. Not me. Not the 3v1. Hold up. All right. Not all grapplers.
It's just big you.
Wow. Look now. I think grapplers get a bad rep for being just more welcoming than other characters. Not everybody likes to do 2 whole 20-hit combos just to get a fraction of what a grappler gets with just a simple 50-50 play into command grab. I feel like that's a very welcoming character, especially to newcomers. And I just feel like, hey, it's more so not so much a skill issue. I feel like for a lot of people, it's just a matter of, hey, understand what you're dealing with. It's not that they're broken. It's just they play on a different level of such. That's all. They're not broken. They're very hard-working characters. They may not have to do 30-hit combos. That's all. That's all I gotta say.
I respect your answer. But after 5 rounds of Potemkin, I feel a type of way.
Hey, leave my boy Potemkin alone. He had to go through the trenches, the gutter, to get where he's at now.
He was thrown through the trenches.
People put respect on his name now. People put respect on his name. That is my boy. He done had to fight so many years being called ass, being low tier. My boy is up. That's all I'm saying.
Your boy is up. Your boy is so
Kept
up.
making fun of him in middle school, and now look at him. He's up.
Yeah.
He's got a little
Oh.
shine, and people are mad.
I mean, yeah,
Just say,
I'm hating.
look now.
I'm a hater.
He's a good bean. All right. Zangief, I can't really call myself a Zangief supporter. He's one of the OGs. I get it. I like current version of Zangief where he actually taps more into his pro wrestling background. I didn't care for just giant kind of Russian strongman. There was also a henchman. I really like that he's more of a showman. It's like I appreciate current like Street Fighter 6 Zangief. I felt like if it was always a question of King or Zangief, I was more King just because he was pro wrestler. He was more pro wrestling based.
Of course.
That's why I love grapplers so much because it's like they are like the direct line to pro wrestling in a lot of cases.
They do be
Right.
power bombing.
So what?
They do be power bombing.
Yes. It's just it's hard to not enjoy that. It's a very rewarding sensation. And
I can
I
understand
wish
that.
people, I wish people I feel like I wish more people could come together on that instead of just being like, I can't stand grapplers. They're brain dead, they're glue eaters, they're
Damn.
knuckle draggers.
Wait.
It's
Whoa.
like,
Who's
brother,
calling them
I
glue?
ain't saying all that.
Wait.
see,
Hold on.
now you understand. I'm not saying that you, but there are a lot of people. That's one of the main things in the fighting game community. That's why it's like I don't understand the just overwhelming disdain.
Glue eating is wild work.
See, that's what I'm saying.
Just taking it personally.
Yeah, they take it personally because they're like, I can't stand grapplers. They don't take much skill. And I'm like, okay, yes, I'm sorry that they don't require a high level IQ of understanding all the different routes for like 3 different mix-ups, and they know how to land all those mix-ups into like 20 to 25 plus hit combos that do maybe 30% damage with a super on top of that. I'm sorry that they don't require all that. It's just, hey, I'm going to probably hit you with a couple of lows, and then I'm going to make you guess if I'm going to do a command grab. And if you guess wrong, you're either getting command grabbed or I'm going to snatch you with an anti-air into like maybe a 5 to 7 hit combo that does a decent amount of damage. And then I'm going to put you into another 50-50 where maybe I do the command grab or maybe I don't. And eventually when the command grab hits, you're going to regret all of your life decisions.
That's me when anybody spams any move.
Oof.
Tiger.
Stop spamming it.
Tiger.
Oof. Oh god. Like Sagat. I know a lot of people that really want him back. I'm indifferent to Sagat. I'm very indifferent to that man.
I like him.
I mean, I don't hate him. I don't like him. He's there. He exists.
I
He
get
was
that.
having an answer first, but like it was different
But
after the cartridges. He mellowed out. He's like, shit, maybe I'm not that one.
He
I
said
don't know.
tiger.
Like, between-
Tiny Japanese boy just fucking loved me.
Oh my god. But yeah, one of the things I definitely wanted to try and get into was since I brought it up earlier, recently in this month we had the Capcom Cup. I honestly think that was by far one of the best ones, especially as far as like for me as a viewer. I haven't watched all of them, but as far as like the ones that I viewed, that one I would put at the very top of the list just because of how unexpected a lot of the outcomes were to a lot of the people that were so sure. They were just so cocksure about certain people running the gauntlet, making it to the top, winning the whole damn thing. And for me, I would never call myself a big fan of betting, but I feel like I have this propensity for spouting or picking the most off the wall picks, and they actually come to fruition. So that's kind of how I felt when
That's
I
the
was
best
watching a
feeling.
lot of the Capcom Cup and seeing some of the people that made their victories. And I wasn't just in there like, see, I knew it. I knew it. It's just like it's just that intuition where it's like, you know what? Something told me that was going to be the outcome of this. Like for some of the players, GB, I feel like you would know this individual, Punk the
Mhm.
God.
Oh yeah, nah, I fucking love Punk.
I love him too, but I felt like this was just not his year to get the 1-2 punch of, hey, I win Capcom Cup after winning Evo, right?
Mm-hmm.
As much as I felt like he was in his bag for the entire year, I did not think he had that much left in the tank for a Capcom Cup, especially because he was doing like a team thing with Street Fighter League, which also took place.
Yeah.
It was literally taking place around the time of Capcom Cup, and then they had the finals right after the finals of Capcom Cup. So I was just
Nah,
like,
he was
you know
definitely
what?
burnt out around that time. He's like, nah, I
Yeah.
can't
So
fucking do
I
it.
was just like, look, no disrespect to Punk, that man got it any day of the week. He's still one of the goats. He's still the alpha, all that jazz.
Just
But
not
I
this
did
week.
not see him taking Capcom Cup clean. And so
Mhm.
many people are just like, nah, Punk's got it. He's gonna be the first to do it. Do Evo, Capcom Cup. And I was like, nah, not this year, at least no.
Yeah,
And
maybe
that's what
next
happened.
year.
Yeah, maybe next year. I mean, I'd love to see it, but I might be in the place to try and make some picks on who I think can take Evo this year. But he has the chance to go back to back. I'd love to see it. But
Right.
I think there's some other people that are kind of rising up through the ashes that might just be coming for that crown this year. Shouts
100%.
out to Kakeru being able to snatch the Dubski in Japan. I mean, Japan, I feel like, was the perfect place to do Capcom Cup because just like with pro wrestling, which I
Mm-hmm.
mean, it made sense because of the stadium that they were in. It was very synonymous with sumo wrestling. So it
That's
was great to see them do it in that arena because of just the history, and the Japanese people were eating up everything, not just from the Japanese players, but from everybody around the world, seeing all the fan signs, just seeing how hyped they got for every individual. It wasn't just like, oh, well, this person's from the UK or this person's from Brazil or whatever. Oh, we don't really care. No, they gave everybody love, and I love that. I love seeing that.
Mm-hmm.
Here in the States,
Agreed.
I don't think I see that so much in a lot of cases. I mean, more so for Ebo, like the big events, sure, but just on like that sort of level, maybe not so much in some of the other tournaments. And I kind of wish that was different.
Agreed.
Also going back for pro wrestling, it's always funny when they go out of the country and the crowds are white hot. They give everybody love. They're singing all the songs. They got all the energy. And then it's like they have the shows back in the States. And it's like some cities will be red hot, but a lot of places will just kind of be like, yeah, it's whatever. It's like, damn,
Yeah, a lot
damn,
of like
bro.
places here really don't have like the passion for it compared to like other like places
Exactly.
like Japan,
Yeah.
where like they just fucking go off the walls with it.
Facts. So
And
I
I
would,
think just having just everyone there was just like a big like it's it's huge because that's what Street Fighter is.
yeah.
Everybody around the world coming together and just scrapping,
Yeah.
and that's cool. It's cool.
And that's why I will say, like, this year in particular, there were a couple of players that I was just rooting for. I was rooting for from when they got announced for some people when they qualified for Capcom Cup, all the way until they got their final match in at Capcom Cup. And like one in particular that I follow him on YouTube. I love all the content because he's very knowledgeable and he really does a great job of breaking things down. Is Broski. In terms of like UK players, I could honestly say that Broski is my favorite UK player. The King of the Capybaras, as he is known as. I love that he plays Aki because that is a character that I gravitated towards as soon as I saw her for Street Fighter 6, and I was just like, yo, I need Aki. I just want Aki. And when she dropped and I found out that he was like, yeah, I like this character Aki, I'm gonna go with Aki, I was like, yes, let's fucking go. And he's one of the best Akis in the world. There, and the thing about it is like there were only 2 Aki players at Capcom Cup. It was him and Soul. And
wow.
Yeah. And
wow.
Yeah. So I wish I had the chart. I'm not gonna try and pull it up, but there's a chart that showed the number of players per character at Capcom Cup. Guess who the top 2 characters were?
Was one of them Aki?
No. There's only 2 players that played Aki. And if you want to guess 2 Kitty, you can do that as well. I'm not gonna just make this between me and
no idea.
No, I actually want to guess this.
Okay.
Yeah. I want to say one of them is definitely like one of the new ones.
So there are 2 characters that had more than 6 players playing them at Capcom Cup, and neither one of those characters were a new character.
Sakura.
Say again?
Sakura.
Nope. Yeah, she's not even in the game. She's not in 6 yet. I hope so.
Why are y'all hating on my dog?
I don't know.
Fucking.
You got to guess, Juby?
I'm clueless. I have no idea.
So the 2 characters were Ken and Cammy.
Ken and Cammy.
Cammy, I could have guessed.
So
I should have figured it was fucking Ken. I was just like, no, not one of the OGs.
The 2 blonde-haired, blue-eyed, just darlings of Street Fighter. Yes. Surprise, surprise. The top 2 characters who, I love how people keep calling Ken the worst Shoto, but he's been the most consecutively played across all different tournaments and such, and he's been one of the main characters to win a lot of tournaments. But yeah, there were like at least 9 players out of the 48 at Capcom Cup that played Ken.
Crazy.
Including Tokido. And I'm just like, I don't know what to say. And then it's like, obviously with Punk and so many others, they play Cammy, and even with the quote unquote nerf, she's still one of the top characters in the game.
Nah, she's still
like, I don't know what hey, it's blonde hair, blue eye privilege. I don't know what to tell you. Like it's just hard to ignore. But I love seeing when there's a lot of character diversity, especially in these major tournaments, because yes, I understand that there's meta, and I'm just a commoner in the eyes of a lot of people that play these regularly, but it's nice whenever I can see certain characters that are not really seen, quote unquote, at the top of the mountain, right? Mm-hmm. So it's like if I'm only seeing like Ken versus Akuma and Bison versus Akuma and Cammy versus Ken and et cetera, it's like, okay, one, I can look at it from the perspective of this is boring. I can also look at it from the perspective of, okay, I can at least get some sort of knowledge without actually fighting this character, so I can understand, okay, granted, this is per player, but I can understand what most of these people will like to do with this character. Why is this character getting so much groundswell and traction?
Right.
However, that did not grant them a easy pass to the top of the mountain, because Kakeru was not playing any of those characters whatsoever. He was playing JP, a character that I was kind of thinking about picking up, but I was like, I want to try and make him work for me because I do like characters that are about space control. A lot of people say that he is very much a zoner, and I can see that, but it's like his whole MO is I'm going to control a certain portion of this like playing field. And you're not just gonna have free reign as like a high speed character like a Ken, Cammy, Jury, DJ, Rashid, where all you want to do is fly around all over the place. I'm gonna lock down certain places so you can't just do whatever the hell you want. I like characters like that. That's why when it comes to like Mortal Kombat, my A1 Day One is always going to be Kenshi. Love Kenshi. That's my dog. Blind swordsman all day. A lot of people was like, oh, he just spams like telekinesis. I was like, yeah, at a level 1 standpoint, that's what he's all about. It's just, hey, I can just do telekinesis all day. But then it's like, once you get into the meat and potatoes, it's like, how is he using his clones to lock down certain things that you want to do? Are you trying to jump in? He can do the up clone. Oh, you're trying to
live stream.
Okay, now it's back. That's some hating behavior.